So we are checking that question number 1, and question number 1 is basically related to a case study. However, I read it whole for you guys. Like, Rakesh is a managing director of ABC company. So Rakesh is a managing director of ABC company. It is basically a listed company. Its registered office is in Bangalore. So Rakesh is a managing director of ABC. I'm basically highlighting what all our we required. So we required, that is, Rakesh is a MD of ABC. Registered office is in Bangalore. In December, what has happened? An allegation of the managing director, immediate family member, and Alpha Limited company, which got a 1,000 crore contract from ABC Company Limited. Means Alpha company has, this company has got contract from this company. Engineering to Quid Pro deal surfaced in the public domain. The matter was personally inquired by the chairman. So personally inquired by the chairman of the board. So the nothing improper was found. In March, what happened? Another complaint from an anonymous whistleblower was received alleging non-adherence of code of conduct, conflict of interest also. So there is non-adherence of code of conduct and conflict of interest and quid pro by the managing director. Okay. So while dealing with the certain customers, now the allegations were refuted by board of directors. So that has been refuted by the board of directors as being malicious and baseless. But when the controversy started getting blown out of the proportion, the company started a regulatory filing that its board has to decide, institute an independent inquiry in the matter. Pending such inquiry, the managing director had been, excuse me a moment, managing director had been asked to go on leave. Now the inquiry revealed Rakesh did not make proper disclosure about his family links with the corporate customers to the board. Also transpired Rakesh gave sanct respect to conflict of interest and due disclosure to refusal requirement while awarding a contract to Alpha Limited company. Now with which his close family members had business interest upon findings of the inquiry being made public. Okay. Upon the findings of the inquiry being made public. Okay. So Rakesh resigned and the company stated that it will treat his resignation as termination for cause and will also stop payment for unpaid benefits due to him. So they are not going to pay, which they need to pay to the Rakesh, because though he resigned, but they are saying that they will consider it as a termination. So what is the background here? So in background of this case, we have to answer how, if so, Rakesh has failed to discharge his duty as a director of ABC company, and in which of the SEBI LODR has been breached by him. So first we need to answer this question. We need to take out one by one. So we know that Rakesh has failed to comply with his duty. Now we have to go with the correct answer of this question. Now this is the answer we have. So I'm reading whole this for you. Like, the directors of a company are required to act in the best interest of the company. They are talking about the general and basic thing. We know already that they need to act in the best interest of the company. They occupy a position of trust and over fiduciary duty to the shareholders of the company. That is a very basic thing. Now under section 166 of the Companies Act, the duty of directors include duty to exercise his duty with due and reasonable care, skill and diligence, to exercise independent judgment. Okay, so here we need to consider this important section. Also, not to involve in a situation which he may have direct interest that conflicts or possibly may conflict with the interest of the company, Also, not to achieve or attempt to achieve any undue gain or advantage either to himself or to his relatives, partners, or associate. And if such director is found guilty of making any undue gain, he shall be liable to pay an amount equal to the gain to the company. So if something has happened, then he need to pay the same amount to the company. Now, second point, we have read that first they have to take the reasonable care, and it basically need to prepare a diligence, and independent judgment should be there. And the second, we read that not to involve any situation which may direct, which may which have a impact on his interest. So conflict of interest, that situation will not arise in future, that we also need to consider that thing. And also, if any undue gain has been happened and has been done to such director or MD, then he need to pay to the company with the same amount. Now in that instant, Rakesh has failed to disclose the business interest of his immediate family members with the Alpha Limited company, which has business relation with the ABC company and had been given contract worth rupees 1000 crore. Thus, Rakesh has violated the provision of section 166 of the company in the discharge of the duties. Further, Rakesh should have made disclosure of his interest as per section 184. So, disclosure of interest that has to be made as per section 184. To make it two more correct. As per section 184. Okay, so regulation 4 sub-regulation 2, then F of the SEBI clause, F of the SEBI listing obligation and disclosure requirement, that is LODR they are talking about. LODR regulations 2015 contains the responsibility of the BOD of the listed entity as regard disclosure of information. It states the following: disclosure of information first. Okay, now the member of the board of director and KMP shall disclose to the board whether they directly or indirectly on behalf of the third party have material interest in the transaction or matter directly affecting the listed entity. Now the board of director and senior management shall conduct themselves so as to meet the expectations of operational transparency to stakeholders, while at the same time maintaining confidentiality of information in order to foster a culture of good decision making. So in this case, thus the view of the above, Rakesh has breached the provision of regulation 4 of the SEBI LODR. So this has the provision that has been breached by him. Regulation 4 has been breached by him. Okay. So we have another question now. That is, state the characteristics of an effective board. It is a general answer we could write, but okay, let's read that what all are the points that we need to write in this question. But it is a general question. Basically, we could need to know this thing. Here we know that what they want to ask here in this question as per the question number 5. This. So LODR fourth provision that has been not followed by this. So as per the LODR, okay, so the this regulation 4 has been breached. Also, he may need to pay the 1000 crore amount to the company. So we'll deal all the questions. So now they want here, what is the effective board? Okay, what are the characteristics of effective board? So here, the role of the board of director in a company is to provide entrepreneurial leadership to the company. An effective board defines the purpose and then set of strategy to achieve its shapes culture and by way and the way it conducts its business. Means through the business, it basically shapes the culture, and also an effective board defines the purpose and then set of a strategy to achieve such. We could write in a general way that following are the main characteristics of an effective board of directors. So what are the characteristics? It should be judicious mix of internal and independent directors with a variety. Means it should be a judicious mix. There has to be a mixture. It is not like a one type of director and one type of criteria. Only are the legal heads we have in our company. So there should be a mix. Financial also, some from other fields, some from the technical department, some from other fields. So we have various experts in the organization. So this they want to say here, that there should be a judicious mix of internal and independent director with a variety of experience. Also they've been required experience and core competence. Okay, the majority of the board of directors should be independent from the organization. Majority we need independence, because for the effective implementation and for various policies. Okay, so we have a different point, that it should be a set of required competencies articulated for the board and committees. The current board members should as a whole display the entire set of required competency. Okay, it should have a broad manual that articulates terms of reference of the board, individual directors, and the code of conduct. It should have a forward list of the topic for the year. They are talking in a general sense now. At least one member of the board should have extensive experience in the industry of the organization, basically in which field the organization is working. One should have extensive experience in such kind of a thing, and one member has to be in the board. Each director should have a comprehensive orientation on the business of the organization and meet key senior staff before the first board meeting. कॉम्प्रिहेंसिव ओरिएंटेशन होना चाहिए उनका बिजनेस ऑर्गेनाइज कि भाई कंपनी क्या क्या काम करती है, एंड ऑल्सो दे हैव टू मीट द सीनियर स्टाफ before the first board meeting. Director should be offered continuing education in the governance or program of director certification. Means there has to be a proper director certification has to happen in the company, and that is all. They have to continuous governance program भी उनका होना चाहिए. Each director should display a keen interest or passion in undertaking of the organization. Basically वो interest दिखाएं company के organization और काम में. Director should regularly attend both board meeting and committee meetings. Director should have been encouraged and supported when asking difficult or awkward questions. मतलब वो आंसर्स दे सके उन क्वेश्चन का. द चेयरमैन should solicit view from each director specifically. Okay, so the chairman should manage the timings. The chairman should manage timings of the board meeting to ensure there is sufficient time for discussion after each topic addressed by the management. Now the board should regularly have outside experts on advice of specific topic. Means जो topics उनके ambit में नहीं आते, if they don't have any idea, so they may hire expert for that. Okay, and they could take any suggestion from the outside experts. So the board should have an in-camera meeting both before and after each board meeting. Board should retain an independent consultant to help evaluate director and board performance. There can be a independent valuer, independent consultant who could evaluate the director and board performance. At the beginning of the board meeting, the committee chairman should have an opportunity to summarize verbally or in writing the issues addressed and decision taken at prior committee meetings. Now the board should have an effective system to provide board members with timely, relevant and reliable financial and strategic information about the organization. Now the board should have review the risk identification and management system of the organization. Board should approve the business plan and major expenditure. Board should work with the CEO and senior staff to develop the review and the strategic plan. We know that it's all other general terms and they just have use a good English, nothing else, but we could write our own points here. So they have written almost 10 points. For how many marks they have written such? they have written for 5 marks. So for 1 point they have written, for 1 marks they have written 2 points. We could write even 5 marks. It could also happen if we wrote any 5 points from this. Okay, so we have another question, that is, analyze the performance of the board of directors in handling the complaints against Rakesh, the managing director of ABC Limited. So analyze the performance of BOD. So what BOD has did in this case, we need to analyze the performance. It has been stated that initially the chairman had inquired into the matter personally and had found nothing improper. Okay, however, this seems, it is basically a fact-based question, whatever has happened in this case. However, this seems more of an opinion rather than based on a detailed inquiry. Thereafter, when another complaint was received, the board simply refuted the matter, citing as malicious and baseless. So the approach of the board in rejecting the allegation as malicious and baseless without conducting an inquiry, okay, it is important, without conducting an inquiry into the matter, raises serious question on its functioning. Instead of addressing the concerns raised, the board tried to sweep the matter under the carpet. Now the board should have tried to reassure that the stakeholder immediately by taking steps to conduct an investigation into the matter to set matter right. A voluntary board, the board could have taken steps to protect the interest of the company. Only when the matter went out of hand, the board had decided to institute an independent inquiry. So it should have to be done prior. Later it would found that Rakesh had not followed the dictum of law. Thus, overall, the performance of the board in handling the complaints against the Rakesh doesn't seem satisfactory, or we could say it is unsatisfactory. Now, the board should have acted proactively in the interest of the stakeholders instead of interest of its managing director. So we have another question, that is question number 4. That is, discuss the principles of corporate governance in order to improve the practices followed by ABC Company Limited to prevent such situation from recurring. So for this question we have this answer, that basically to improve the functioning and efficiency of ABC Company Limited should align its corporate governance practices with the broad principle for corporate governance by listing entities as given below. What are the basically they want to say here the principles. So the company should ensure timely and accurate disclosure of all material matters. Timely and accurate disclosure has to be made. So here we could write an important point, that is disclosure, including the financial position, performance, ownership, governance of the company. Okay, the responsibility of the board should be clearly defined. Responsibility: the board of directors shall lay down a code of conduct for all the members of the board and the directors and the senior manager of the listing company. Now the member of the board of directors and the senior management personnel shall affirm compliance with the code of conduct of the board of directors and senior management on an annual basis. On an annual basis also it has to be done through the code of conduct. Now the board should monitor and manage potential conflict of interest by the of the management and manager members of the manage. Okay, potential conflict of interest, management, member of the board of directors, shareholders, including misuse of corporate assets and abuse in related party transaction. Now the board of directors shall exercise objective, independent judgment on corporate affairs. Okay, the board of directors shall consider assigning a sufficient number of non-executive members of the BOD capable of exercising independent judgment to tasks where there is potential for conflict of interest. Now members of BODs shall act on fully informed basis in good faith with due diligence and care, okay, and in the best interest of the listed entity and their shareholders. Now the board of directors shall set a corporate culture and the values by which executive throughout a group shall behave. Now the board of directors shall maintain high ethical standards and shall not take into account the interest of the and shall take into account, sorry for the mistake, that is shall take into account the interest of the stakeholders. Basically that is the work that has to be done by the organization. Now we are moving to question number 2. So that is, write a short note on dividend distribution policy. It could be our question in text, dividend distribution policy. There could be a question arise, and we have question number 2A. So we have to discuss almost 6 questions in this part. I think we have to discuss it now. Just give me a moment for having a glass of water. Just give me a moment. Okay, so we have now this dividend distribution policy. So it can be asked in 2 papers basically, in governance and in tax only. So basically we need to consider this question as our 2 subjects. It can appear in these 2 subjects. So the provision pertaining to dividend distribution policy are contained in regulation 43A of SEBI LODR. Regulation 43A of the SEBI LODR disclosure requirement regulation 2015 provides that the top 500 listed company based on the market capitalization calculated as on 31st March of financial year every year shall formulate a dividend distribution policy which shall be disclosed in the annual report. Where they had to be disclosed? In their annual report, okay, and on their website also. So they are in annual report and also in their website they have to disclose, and when it has to be disclosed, when the market capitalization they comes under the top 500 listed companies. So it is requirement as per the SEBI LODR. What section? 43A. So we have another topic here, that the dividend distribution policy shall include following parameters. What all are the parameters they are talking about? That the circumstances under which the shareholder of a listed company may or may not expect dividend. Means what all are the circumstances they will not get any dividend. Now the financial parameters that shall be considered while declaring dividend. What all are the financial parameters? Now the internal and external factors that shall be considered for declaration of dividend. What all are the factors that they need to consider? First, I'm again repeating all such, that first they need to consider the circumstances where they cannot expect any dividend. Now what are the financial parameters that has to be considered before declaration dividend? What are the internal external factor that has to be considered for declaration of dividend? Now policy as to how the retained earnings shall be utilized. Now the parameters that shall be adopted with regard to various classes of shares, provided that if the listed entity proposes to declare dividend on basis of parameters in addition to clause A to E, or proposes to change its such additional parameters or dividend distribution policy contained in any of the parameters, it shall disclose such changes along with the rationale for the same in its annual reports on its website. Now the listed entity other than the top 500 listed entity based on the market capitalization, means other than those 500 companies, may disclose their dividend distribution policy on voluntary basis in their annual reports and on their websites. Means that it is not mandatory imposed, but they, if they want to, they can do it voluntarily. So we have know that the parameters Again, I'm reading these parameters, that the circumstances we need to consider, that where the shareholders of such company may not expect dividend. What are the financial, then also the financial parameters that is to be considered while declaring dividend. What are the external and internal factors that has to be considered while declaring dividend, and policy as to retain earnings shall be utilized. Okay, now the parameters that shall be adopted with regard to various classes of shares. Okay, so this is the answer for this question. So we have another question, that is, a responsible business activity contributes to good public policy and to human rights in community in which it operates. Explain the responsibility of business provided in the Cox Roundtable stakeholders management guidelines. So what has happened in Cox Roundtable we need to discuss here. So we know that the Cox Roundtable has held principles for business, responsible business. As a global corporate citizen, a responsible business activity contributes to good public policy and to human rights in community in which it operates. Now, in this context, it is envisaged that responsible business had a responsibility to respect human rights, democratic institutions, promote them wherever practicable. Now, they recognize government's legitimate obligations to society at large and support public policies and practices and that promote social capital. Now, to promote harmonious relationship between business and other segment of society, collaborate with community initiatives seeking to raise standards of health, education, workplace safety, and economic well-being. Now, to promote sustainable development in order to preserve and enhance the physical environment while conserving the earth resources. Support peace, security, and rule of law. Respect social diversity, including local culture and minority communities. Be a good corporate citizen through ongoing communities investment and support before employing participation in the community and civic affairs. Now I'm again reading this answer, that in the Cox Roundtable, what all are the principles that has been discussed, that there basically it has envisaged